Hi everyone, this is Ishika Bhattacharjee, and today's topic is storytelling, techniques, tools, and narrative. So, before diving deep into all these uh, paragraphs and all, I want to start that what is data storytelling? We have so much huge set of data, huge set of raw data that we don't make sense about. Like you are having such data in rows and columns in Excel sheets. You are using Power BI to get something out of it. Get something out, but what is that something? That's the story the data wants to tell us, that we can't just see in the rows and columns and get out ourselves. So, to tell a story from these raw data is a really important skill, and that is exactly what going to be the main focus of this lecture. So, it's really important that you know how to tell the stories out of that data, because when you are considering a client who is not from the tech background, you can't just show him your Python notebooks or your Power BI data and dashboards. They will just see the dashboards reports. That's it. How much amount, how much revenue they generated, how many sales are they making, who are their customers, all of these things they are just going to get through the dashboards and the reports. They're not going to go deep into your Python notebooks and all. So to bridge the gap, we need some of the tools that we already know for visualizations and making dashboards. But we need to know that how to get such good insights out of that story, out of that big data. Now there are columns, different columns. Which columns to arrange, which columns to compare about, and then tell the data to the client. This process we need to know. So, the introduction that data storytelling is the process of translating raw analytical discoveries into meaningful human context. That I just told you that the client is not from the technical background. Then we have to make sure that our client understands what we are developing, what we are working through our codes and all, or the analysis, everything. We need to show them in a really simple language, not in our coding languages. So how do we do that? By synthesizing data, structured visualizations, and a coherent narrative thread. So while individual charts highlight numbers, comprehensive storytelling establishes the critical why behind data. So after looking at the raw data, we need to clarify that what are we getting out of it? What should be in my mind? And this report, why am I choosing this report? Why am I choosing this chart? What is my motive? What is the insight that I want to show to my client, right? So this why, answering this why is the real question for which we are understanding this data storytelling. So represents an intersection and analytical and creative methodologies data storing gives us, and it relies on three primary components to turn static insights into compelling vectors for change. First, the data, visualizations, and narrative. These three components are really important for data storytelling. Now, if you see the architecture of an interactive story, effective story, how to do that? First, we need some context that will clarify the target audience, the underlying commercial or operational reality, and it will define the primary business problem being solved. Then the insight. After getting the context from the data, we need to show some insights. So, converts passive observations into informative truths. Just for examples, sales grew by 20%, 20%, right? We are not showing them that this is my analysis, this is my machine learning algorithm, or this is how I made this report. We have to just tell them that yes, your company's sales have grew by 20%. So a mature insight establishes that sales expanded by 20%, especially due to our targeted festive seasonal proportion, right? Now this is answering that of course my sale increased, but why? What happened that my sales increased? So because we targeted festive season promotion and then action. After knowing all these insights, we are able to show some recommendations with using some metrics, suggesting now the steps like what to do next and all that to make sure our sales increase more or we go to our profit phase. Now there are 5-step life cycle that we have to define the objective, harvest and analyze, construct visuals, script the narrative, and present the recommendation. So these 5 steps will give you the data storytelling. Now, the three-part narrative structure and this ecosystem tools, all these we will cover in the next lecture. Thank you so much.